I'm continuing this series of channel updates for my subscribers so that they have some idea of what's going on this month and what I did last month. I get to fill them in on some of the things I'm interested in or getting entangled with, or where I put my efforts. I'm a little bit behind this month. It's now September 11th, that big day for everybody since the September 11th quite a while ago. And well, you'll find out why I waited so long this month as I tell you about what August was like. So August was, in some respects, a month where I don't feel like I got a ton of stuff done, but I seem to have put a lot of effort into things. I was finishing up an online 10-week course in ethics that I was teaching for Marist College, and that drew to a close, I think, in about the beginning of the second week, and then I started prepping for my classes that began at the end of August at Marist. I'm teaching an ethics class, which I've got down pretty well, but I always, tweak the material a little bit, add some stuff, take some stuff out. And then a new Intro to Philosophy class with a totally different theme, totally different readings from previous semesters. And I'll tell you a little bit about that in a moment. So I had that stuff going on, class-related stuff. My wife had gone off to Switzerland at the beginning of the month to European graduate school, where she's a doctoral student, to do her residency for that. Very exciting time for her, and it was kind of fun to see from the sideline. She'd give me, reports from time to time. Well, this guy talked about this, and this woman talked about this, and here's what the students were interested in. And they get a lot of really big-name thinkers, and it's got a strong focus on continental philosophy, sort of cutting-edge stuff. But they have some interest in some classic continental philosophy too, particularly Heidegger. So that leads me into one of the things that I actually did get done during August. One of the works that they are particularly interested in over there at EGS, and understandably so, because their emphasis is really on artistic production and media studies and that sort of thing, is Heidegger's essay, The Origin of the Work of Art. And since my wife was sort of grappling with this for the first time in a really serious way, and doing so with people who are, honest to God Heidegger scholars. I'm just somebody who teaches about Heidegger. I don't do a lot of scholarly work on Heidegger himself, but there are people who just specialize in his thought. I thought it'd be nice to get the existentialist series moving again. That's lain fallow for a while I recovered from my leg injury, by shooting a sequence of videos on that particular work, Heidegger's Origin of the Work of Art. So I did shoot 3-hour-long video lectures where I go into the work. There's some facets of the essay that I didn't cover, but I think I managed to go over most of what's going on in there and to outline it. And I'm hoping, not necessarily this month, but maybe next month, to put together some handouts on it as well that would go along with the videos. So there was that. I did a guest spot on the radio show Theology Matters with the Pellews on Thomas Aquinas and natural law, and that was my second time doing that show. I enjoyed it. I had some interesting calls come in, including one guy who was quite wound up and was raising some of the typical new atheist attacks, which aren't actually new. They're all old stuff that's just sort of recycled from the 18th and 19th century in new form, and was very very tendentious. And it was an interesting experience for me, because I have a tendency to throw myself into these arguments, and so I try to keep myself back from that, because in the past I've been a little bit too aggressive in those kind of arguments, and nothing ever useful comes out of them. People go into them convinced, and they come out of them convinced. And what I did is I sort of sat back and pointed out to the guy that the way that he was choosing to set things up and define things was already sort of prejudging, prejudging. Anyway, structuring things in a prejudicial way from the very beginning, so that any person who tried to respond to them, they were in effect loaded questions. Like when we say a loaded question, we mean things like, have you quit beating your wife? Any way you answer, the way the question is set up, it's going to be bad for you. So in my eyes, and this is sort of a sign of how things are for me, i.e. not as developed as they ought to be, it felt like I had not really, answered the guy the way I should have. But I got a lot of positive feedback from people saying that was exactly the way to address that sort of caller. So, I did a talk about natural law. It was kind of nice, congenial for the most part. What else? I did quite a few videos about like phases in my philosophical development, some of the ones that I had started doing back in July. I continued that sort of thing forward. I still have a lot more of those yet to do, and I'll put those together in one playlist. I started doing something new, which was taking the VU 2-minute short videos that I have. I used to be on this social network called VU, which has gone bust in about the last year. And on this social network, you could respond to other V users and give them questions or comments. People from the outside could shoot in questions and comments as well. And then here's what was really distinctive about it. Your response to those questions or comments would be in the form of a 2-minute or under video recorded from your webcam on your computer. So, as you can guess, computer technology has advanced a lot and webcams have gotten a lot better, so the video quality on a lot of these clips is not particularly good. But I was answering some interesting questions that viewers were putting to me. So when VU went bust, they actually sent us users, us V users as we were called, all the videos that we had generated for them. And so I thought, yeah, it'd be kind of cool to put this stuff together and offer it to my YouTube subscribers and my Facebook page followers and the people that would follow me on Google Plus or Twitter and see what they make of this stuff. So I've been taking 10 videos at a time that have to do with some sort of common thing, like maybe ethics or religion or politics, and then bundling them together and editing it and uploading it. I think what I'm going to do, and this is sort of taking me into what's coming up in the future, for September I'm just going to still be bundling these together because I've still got a number of decades yet to go, to process, to upload. But down the line, so this is something for maybe October, November, December. Down the line, what I'm going to start doing is finding some way to create a forum where my YouTube subscribers and Facebook followers and other people who follow me on other sites can write in and say, hey, I'd like you to do a really short thing about this question or this topic, or what do you think about this? And then bundle those together as 10 shorts. So that would be I think that would be kind of a cool idea. And it didn't come from me, it came from one of my YouTube subscribers who suggested that, if I remember right. So that's something I'm going to be doing. What else? That's pretty much it for August. So what's coming up this month in September? What's left of September now that I'm 1/3 of the way through it? Well, I'm teaching classes at Marist College, so I'm doing a lot of prep work because I didn't have everything totally set up from the start. Even the ethics class, which I've taught a number of times and I've got a lot of material already set up for, I've got some new material that I have to develop handouts for, create new assignments, generate some new course, readings and things like that. Like this semester, for example, we're going to read Plato's Republic, Book 9. That's a new edition. And I dropped a few things out that we had studied in previous semesters. We're also going to be reading McIntyre's After Virtue. Normally I have them read chapters 2 and 3. They're also going to read chapters 14 and 15 towards the end of the semester. So, I've got some new things going on. In the Intro to Philosophy class, we're doing a lot of new material. And you'll notice me uploading some of that and putting it into the intro playlist, and also putting it into some of the Thinker playlists. We started out the semester with Plato's Lysias. This is about friendship. And we're knee-deep right now in the Symposium, which is a set of speeches given at a drinking party about love, in which Socrates is involved, but a lot of other people. You notice the common theme, right? The common theme for this entire semester for that class is love, friendship, and desire. So we're trying to figure out, how do these work? What are they? How do they tie in with metaphysics, with ethics, with philosophy of human nature, with epistemology? It gives the course a really cool focus, and it's something that all my students, I think, can relate to some extent. And since philosophers, especially ancient and medieval philosophers, had a lot to say about these topics, it's a chance for me to go back and teach texts that ordinarily I don't get too much of a chance to talk about. So what we've got coming up the rest of the month, once we're done with Plato, I'm doing a workshop session with them on close reading papers, because I'm having them do that. And then we're delving into Aristotle. We're looking at Aristotle's metaphysics, particularly where he's talking about desire and the final good as motivating us, and also his critiques of some theories about love in there. And then we're looking at Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics, some of the books in that. Then we move to the Epicurean tradition. We're going to spend one day on that. Look at Epicurus, talking about friendship. We're going to have a guest lecture in there in the semester as well, which I'll hopefully be able to record. And that takes me up to, I think, about the end of the month. So that's what's going on with classes. So you can expect to see these class videos being uploaded. I'm going to keep on doing like I said, the 10 short VU videos on this and that. Now I'm mostly dealing with things in religion, and once I'm done with that, I'll turn to some of the interesting critical thinking, argumentation questions that were given to me. I'm going to shoot some more core concept videos as time permits. I also have to finish up the Aristotle categories video series. You didn't know that it was a series because I've only shot one of the videos so far. I shot it before I damaged my knee, which now is, it's not fixed, but I can get around on it. So now it's time for me to finish up shooting all these videos on the categories that I wanted to do, because it's a loose thread that I want to tie up before the month is over. And then I want to start shooting some of the existentialism videos that I keep meaning to get to. So I've got some time slots lined up to shoot some videos about this really cool existentialist thinker that not a lot of people talk about, Leon Shestov, who was actually the first guy, as far as I know, to see the connections between Kierkegaard, Dostoevsky, and Nietzsche, the three grandfathers of existentialism, and to talk about them thematically. He also saw connections to Tolstoy and Chekhov and some other authors as well. Really cool, interesting, under-taught existentialist thinker who I think is just as important as Heidegger or Sartre or Marcel or Camus. So I'm going to spend some time talking about some of his early works. If I have the time, I'm hoping also to shoot some videos about Gabriel Marcel, and then we're going to hopefully get to some other existentialist thinkers later this semester. I'm hoping also, if I have the time, to shoot a video on Heidegger's response to Sartre. Sartre's Existentialism is a Humanism, this letter on humanism that Heidegger wrote, because it's an important intra-existentialist debate. So I've got that going on. I'm spending a lot of time sort of updating my web presence. It's easy to fall behind when you've got so many different projects going on. I've been updating my Learnist courses. If you're interested in Learnist, it's kind of a cool platform for setting up mini courses, and that's what I've been doing with it. I've been talking with a number of different web platforms, developers that are interested in educational materials. about producing some content for them, and so I'm looking to do some of that material as well. We'll talk more about that probably in another video. And, I'm just tidying things up here and there. On YouTube, I'm trying to organize the playlist a little bit more rationally and get everything in where it ought to be and categorize things. You end up spending a lot of time not just producing content, but what we call curating content as well. I also have two other things going on this month that I think viewers might be interested in. I'll have footage of one of them, but not of the other. For the other one, which is the radio show, Theology Matters, you have to go online and go to their actual site. You can get the podcast of it. As a matter of fact, if you're interested in the podcast of my previous two sessions where I was a guest, where I talked about St. Anselm and Thomas Aquinas on natural law, go to just type in Theology Matters, Pelus, and you'll find their site. It's on Blog Talk Radio, I believe, and you can download the podcasts. Anyway, this month on September 26th, which is a Thursday night, I am going to be on Theology Matters, and I'm going to be talking, instead of talking about a theistic Christian philosopher, I'm going to talk about somebody who was an atheist. He kind of kept it under wraps, but a lot of people suspected it at the time, and that's David Hume. And I'm going to talk mostly about Hume's famous dialogues on natural religion, which is a text that I taught last semester and videotaped some nice footage on. But I'll talk about some of Hume's other ideas and his effect on theology and Christian thought, why he's such a serious opponent, and then we'll see what happens when viewers call in. If any of you who want to call in, any of you who watch my stuff and are interested in this sort of thing, I invite you to call in to the Pelus. You can find all that stuff on their website. The other thing that I've got going on is a little bit different, and it's something that's I've done something like this before in the past with the Philosophy Eats talk that I gave a while back on hedonism, which we did at a restaurant, and it was tied in with a themed menu. I gave a talk, and it was tied in with a menu that was themed about hedonism. Hedonism is all about pleasure. This one is going to be at the Culinary Institute of America. It's on the 21st. And it's part of their feasting and foraging extravaganza day. I'm not exactly sure. I'm a little bit hazy on some of the details at this point, but I know there's a lot of different things that they've got planned for their students, and it's all centered around this notion of feasting and foraging. So some of it has to do with prehistoric peoples and flint wrapping and all that. The thing that I'm going to be doing is talking about drinking parties, namely symposia. Symposium originally meant drinking party in Greek, the sum together, and then posium is coming from the Greek word to drink. And how did we get from parties where people would hang out and sometimes drink pretty heavy and do drinking games and get involved in all sorts of crazy things, and sometimes give speeches and make arguments, to these very abstract, abstruse, non-drinking, philosophical, or any other sort of field thing where you've got a panel of experts all dressed up in academic garb, just talking. How did we go from this fun thing to this kind of dry thing? I'm going to talk about that, and it's going to be a symposium because one of the professors is going to be bringing a hard apple cider that he has brewed himself. He is a wine and beverage guy who is just brilliant when it comes to the history of alcoholic beverages. He knows all about all the different liqueurs and how they came to be, and so I'm really looking forward to this collaboration. People are going to be enjoying the apple cider while I'm doing a talk and then doing some Q&A and back and forth with them. about symposia and drinking parties and how we went from here to here and how maybe we could get back, while we're actually involved in a mini symposium on the site. So that's going to be pretty cool. And we're going to try to get footage of it so that those of you who can't be there can in some way participate, maybe, you know, raise a hard apple cider while you're watching it. That's what I've got going on this month. Now that I actually talk about it, it's quite a lot of stuff, and I probably should quit shooting this video and start getting on with my work. So I'll leave you with that.